Hello and welcome to Computer Tech and More. Today I want to talk about backup power supplies, or UPS, UPS. This is an old one I have. There are a couple different versions out there that are more expensive ones are pure sine wave, pure sine wave is what you get out of your wall socket. And then there's simulated sine wave, which this will simulate a sine wave and it's not exactly pure. So the advantage of pure sine wave is if you have sensitive electronics like home amplifier, I would say your desktop computer, anything that doesn't use kind of a filtering method, you want a pure sine wave. A laptop, I think, can do just fine with a simulated sine wave. So all UPS units will have a battery and surge protection, and just ones that are for surge. So surge you would use for only things that you don't want to stay on when the power goes out. Generally, I actually don't use these. I plug everything in to the battery that I want plugged in. You can plug in your internet or your cable connection. You can plug directly into a computer so you can control it manually. Again, this is an old one. I have a more modern, newer one. A lot of the newer ones have USB on the front. It'll tell you the wattage, the volt amps, the percent load, percent volt amps, the battery level. Right there it's muted. The estimated runtime, battery, its load kind of level, the number of events experienced, volts, input frequency, and its output. I prefer leaving on watts because that's easier for me to understand. This particular one is 1500 volt amps. Now you will see that mine are cyber power. In my experience, I've had good experience with cyber power. I've actually had one where the battery went out and it was still under warranty, and the underside of it didn't have the serial number, and without any extra work need on my side other than providing the purchase order, where I'd purchased it from Amazon, they sent me a new battery and it was easy to replace. No hassle. So back to what I use this for. So I have one of these for my home desktop, and you don't need to spec the unit to your computer's power supply. So if you have a power supply that's 1,000 watts, you don't need one of these that can supply 1,000 watts. You need it to supply your computer's draw wattage. So if your computer is only drawing 300 or 400 watts, you only need one of these that can supply 300 or 400 watts of power. But that also means that it won't have a very long runtime. So the more over-spec'd it is, the longer period of time you'll have to save wherever you were, your work, your game, whatever, and power down your computer. So I also have one that powers my home NAS and its backup hard drives. I don't leave those on all the time, just the NAS. And I have a second one for the router and the modem. In my personal experience, I found that during a power outage that my internet will stay on for about 2 hours before it goes down during the blackout. So by having a battery unit hooked up to the router and modem, I have internet for those 2 hours that I can get in contact with the electric company, the whatever I need to during that outage, because I don't always know the phone numbers offhand. So it makes it really convenient, and well, it means you can also surf the web for up to 2 hours. Having one for the NAS means I have access to those files that I keep stored in there. So any movies that I ripped from disk, and one for the desktop, and I can hook up my laptop to it so I get extended battery life that way. You can also use this to recharge your phone, because again, it's got the battery plugs. Now, I want to comment on that. They are not super efficient. These use a lead acid battery, much like the ones you have in cars, except they're sealed. And they have a cooling fan inside of it. You can actually hear it. That cooling fan does draw some electricity, so, and you can hear it beeping. This one is an older unit that doesn't have a mute button, but what it means is that it will always draw power if it's on. So if you don't need it, turn it off, so that if you have an extended outage, you can charge whatever device you need to charge, whether it be your cell phone, rechargeable batteries, your flashlight, and that kind of thing. So I really like using these ups rather than just a basic surge protector. They have very high joule ratings, and I'm not going to talk about any specific models, but in general, the bigger the unit you get, the more it can take. They oftentimes have warranties that'll protect X amount of dollars of electronics hooked up to it. And when selecting a ups to buy, I would stick with big name brands. Again, I went with CyberPower. There's several of them out there, and you can get a more basic one that'll have more or less the same functionality, but I do like having the screen. I like knowing how much power is being drawn, and I'd have one for kind of every area you have your expensive electronics. So again, I have one for a TV and mini computer. I have one for a NAS. I probably could eliminate the one that I have running the router and just have the NAS and router on the same one, and then one for my desktop and the monitor and that kind of stuff all hooked up to one. So that's pretty much covers the basics on UPS units. Again, I highly recommend getting one. Oh, what these are not designed for. They will not power a fridge. They will not power your stove. They will not power a bilge pump used to pump water out of your house. I tried, and it just shut off. They have a maximum amperage rating. So even if the wattage on a device is lower than its maximum wattage, if the amperage is not the same as what the device can output, it won't work properly. So you'll need to do your own research on that. But for basic computers, you would be all set buying one. But yeah, be smart with it. These are batteries. They are electronics. Don't abuse it. Don't throw it. It is lead acid battery. It needs to be recycled properly at the end of the life. But that's all I really have to say about these units. I find them very helpful, and keeps me feeling safe that my electronics are safe, both from power surges and during blackouts. And they don't happen that often, but when they do, it's very annoying when there's nothing to do. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.